Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I get to dip into something that I've been rather interested in, because, now some of you have probably picked up on this because I've mentioned it a few times in past episodes. I am a fan of films from Troma. I have been for many, many years. Especially films directed by Troma CEO, president, whatever the hell his title is over there, Lloyd Kaufman. So I finally found what I believe is his latest film. I'm probably wrong on that, but this right here is the newest one that I have heard of. Tonight's film is Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. I would like to say that that is probably one of the coolest titles I have ever heard. I should mention that prior actually to doing this episode, I was looking at the back of the DVD case here. And it says here, total runtime approximately 203 minutes. What happened there was, I saw that and I thought, there's no way this movie's over 3 hours long. I found out that when they mean total runtime, they do mean both the film Poultrygeist as well as the making of documentary on the second disc. So, thankfully, this thing isn't nearly that long. It's actually only an hour and 42 minutes. So, I'm really hoping for the best here. But I do have a couple of small doubts because the last two films I've seen that were directed by Lloyd Kaufman kind of sucked. Those were Terror Firmer and Citizen Toxie, The Toxic Avenger Part 4. I thought both those films were just complete shit. But I always go into a Lloyd Kaufman film with high hopes because I always have to think back and go, this is the guy who did Troma's War. This is the guy who did The Toxic Avenger. So there is hope there. So, without further ado, ladies and gents, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. Wow. We're only a few minutes in, we already had footage of a guy jacking off with a very obviously fake, dick, and a guy who gets a zombie finger shoved up his ass. Wow, this thing is not really starting off good now, is it? So, we have a song and dance number here. This thing isn't going to be like a horror musical or something, is it? That'd be a little bit fucked up. Like, really fucked up. Wow. Somehow this film was able to make a guy fucking a cash register funny. Then again, I never thought I'd ever see a film where a guy fucks a cash register. That is definitely new. All of a sudden, guys, the very concept of eating a fucking sloppy fucking Joe is starting to make me a little bit sick. Oh. So, there's a severed penis in the sloppy Jose. The plus side is, I didn't have to see it cut off, so it doesn't really affect me as badly. At least there's that. So, what the fuck? So, partially thawed chicken turned into something weird and just bit off this redneck's dick. Well, this is just disturbing to watch. What the fuck is going on? Now, I honestly am not a scientist, I honestly am not a doctor, but I have a feeling that if you are vomiting and your vomit is a really bright shade of green, that is far from healthy. And kind of disgusting on top of it. This actually is probably a really minor detail, but why the hell does a chicken restaurant have a roast beef cutter? Like one of those things used to cut like slits of roast beef. Then again, though, they also are serving sloppy fucking Joes, so really, I guess that, complaining about that's kind of moot at this point. The fuck? So, taking lots of steroids makes your eyes shoot out of your head and begin to ooze white shit. Fun. I actually kind of blanked on the fact that this thing is a musical. It actually has been a while since they actually had a song. The song is actually kind of catchy too. That was one hell of a good way to end this film, folks. That was Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. Oh, man. Alright, let me pop this sucker out. Now it's time to talk about the movie. Well, first of all, guys, I would like to say that I went into this one, and I stated this at the start, I was fearing the absolute worst. I was fearing the worst because, well, Lloyd Kaufman's last couple outings that I've seen kind of sucked. This one, though, on the other hand, is a return to form. This thing is classic Kaufman. I loved every second of it. In fact, watching this, I had the same kind of fond memories I had from the first times I watched the Toxic Avenger and Kabuki Man and Troma's War and all these other films that Lloyd Kaufman has done. This thing was fantastic from top to bottom. I believe I should start with the writing. The writing is ridiculously funny. I mean, there are just tons and tons of really funny gags. And also the fact that our main character, Arby, is just, well, he basically is the most retarded main character in the history of film. It really does sort of add up to some really funny gags. And the actual story is just fantastic. I mean, come on, guys. I actually have seen a whole lot of zombie films. I've never seen any of them which involved a fried chicken restaurant being built on an Indian burial ground. All right, I would never even have thought of something like that. And they were able to take that story and they ran with it. This thing was absolutely fantastic from start to finish. It is 1 hour and like 40 minutes roughly. And if you guys ever get a chance to watch it, you are not going to be bored by the story. The acting, well, here is sort of where it gets sort of hard to talk about, because Troma is known for having like subpar, sometimes shitty acting. That actually is kind of the Troma style. And that is still here. We still have acting which sometimes comes off as ridiculously shitty. However, though, we also then have times where the acting is really good. And again, that's kind of normal for Troma films. You know, the acting is always a big, like, mixed bag. So that, honestly, I am not able to really, like, you know, like, crap on them too much for that because, well, it's been that way for 35 years. I seriously am not going to complain about a system that at least kind of works. The music. Well, first of all, I had no fucking clue this thing was a musical. I really didn't. I seriously thought it was just going to be another typical Troma film with just tons and tons of nudity and gore, and it has tons of that. But I never in 1,000 years would have thought Poultrygeist musical. I would never have thought of that. And apparently when they were writing it, they also never really thought about that either, because it starts off strong, and there's maybe like 4 or 5 songs within the first half of the film. Then there's only one song in the second half of the film. So that actually is at least something. Is they actually knew how to not shoehorn in songs when they don't quite work, because every single song which is put in there, it actually seems to flow nicely. It works perfectly, and the songs were actually cool. And I actually could picture myself singing along with these songs after like the 4th or 5th viewing. I really could. And beyond that, every other piece of music was, great, which also, once more, is kind of normal for most Troma films. They usually can get some really good music going. So, let's see, I've covered the story, I've covered acting. Special effects. Holy hell! Once more, this is your typical Troma fare when it comes to special effects, which means that they have some of the finest blood and gore effects anywhere. And if you are fans, and if you guys are fans of films which have geysers of blood and organs just shooting everywhere, this film is perfect for you because it has tons of that. In fact, the kitchen of this restaurant has got a nice coat of blood on it within the first like 30 minutes roughly, and that's off of only about two deaths roughly. So that actually should tell you exactly how much blood is flowing with every single death. Beyond that, everything else when it comes to special effects, and this is everything from makeup effects to pulsating sores to all this other stuff, which you see in the film is very, very well done, and it looks fantastic, which is really kind of different because Troma usually kind of sucks when it comes to, you know, makeup effects that aren't pulsating sores. I don't know how the hell they were able to master that, but nothing else. But this time around, they actually mastered it, everything, and it looks great. Camera work was really, really well done. However, I would like to comment, and I really don't know if this actually was a stylistic choice or if this was just something which happened when they were filming. There is tons of, like, grain on this film. There are tons of, like, grain effects. It basically looked almost like I was watching one of the two films from Grindhouse, because a lot of it looks really, like, fakely thrown on there. However, it could very easily have been something that was actually there when they were filming. I really don't know if Troma still uses film or if they're using digital stock now. I really have no idea. It actually has been that long since I've seen a Troma film besides this one. Otherwise, though, like, camera work was really, really good. And really, if I had any other complaint, it would have to do with the sound. Because, see, guys, for some reason, the sound on this thing, it just kept, like, wavering. It actually would get, like, really high, and then it would get really quiet, and then it would get really high again. And it would just keep on doing that. So I constantly had to sit there and either turn the volume up or down. And I don't know if that actually is a problem with just, you know, this copy, or if it's a problem with the film in general. I really just cannot tell you. I wish I could really give you a you know, definitive answer on that. Now, the good news, guys, is this. You actually can watch this film for free right now. Yeah, apparently Troma has worked out a deal with Hulu. And you guys can check out this as well as other films from Troma right on Hulu. And I'm going to provide you guys with a link to Poultrygeist, because I really do think that you guys have got to check out this film if you are a fan of gore films, if you are a fan of zombie flicks, if you are a fan of, if you are a fan of comedies, if you are a fan of musicals. There is something here for almost everybody. And I really just I really cannot heap enough praise on this thing. I am seriously stunned. I really thought this thing was just going to be horrible. And Lloyd Kaufman has surprised the hell out of me. Because I swear to God, guys, I really thought that he was completely and totally washed up after watching Terror Firmer and Toxic Avenger 4. This thing, though, shows me that he still has something there. He still has that, you know, like, tingling of awesome that shows that he can make good films still, which is, well, you know, good in the Troma sense. I really wouldn't dare call these good in the, like, overall general sense, barring very few exceptions. But anyway, guys, yeah, by all means, swing on over to Hulu and check out this movie. You will absolutely love it. I can almost guarantee this. And with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.